PowerPoint. I'm sure most of you have clicked on it from time to time, and in this video, I'll share a whole range of tips, tricks, and other little Easter egg features that you're likely not using. So yeah, there's quite a few more in here than the title suggests. So with that, let's begin. Let's start with some basic but super useful ones nevertheless, just dipping our toes in the water. Actually, before we even do that, if you want to make your PowerPoint visually easier on your eyes with this darker style theme, then go to File and scroll to the bottom where it says Account, and then change your office theme to black. I'll be using the normal theme for the sake of this video, but now you know. Alright, let's carry on. Where better to start than with some shapes? Ah yes. Well, once you draw a shape and a few more shapes, and a few more, you have a nice art piece with multiple layers. Oh, and a side note, use the shift or the control key in regards to maintaining the aspect ratio and the size changing from the center respectively, as you can see by this gentleman here. This works on arrows as well, by the way. Anyhow, if you want to edit this said art piece and the layers around it, you'd probably right click and then go send backwards or forwards multiple times, but this is a really inefficient way of doing things. Instead, you can go to the selection pane, which most people don't really even know about, and now you can drag these layers and organize by the name and hide certain elements too, so they're not visible but they're not deleted either, which can be really handy as well. On the topic of shapes, we've got to talk about the merge shapes option. So if you select a bunch of shapes and then you go to this option here, you have union, combine, fragment, intersect and subtract. Again, you just kind of have to play around with these settings in order to get the effect that you're after, but each one produces a different result in regards to which part of the overlap between the shapes you want to keep or not keep, etc, etc. I'm sure you get the idea. With this method, you can really get some crazy shapes that would not have even been possible to create as easily before, and even varies based on which object was selected first. I mean, it could even be used potentially as a basic masking tool as well, to remove certain aspects from an image by using the drawing tools to the left. As you can see here, by my example with this coffee cup image, where I was able to quickly and roughly cut out the top of this cup from the image. You don't know how hard it was to draw a perfect circle with the mouse. A quick bonus tip is that you can edit shapes further once they're already made using this option here, which I sometimes forget about but can come in handy to alter the shape as you need. As you can see, on the freeform and complex shapes you get a lot of nodes that you can play around with. And finally, on the topic of shapes, but this applies to anything really, and often used for transitions as it's so powerful, is the Morph tool. Honestly, the Morph tool is pretty wild in regards to how far you can take it, which I won't be able to do justice for in this video, but it allows you to morph any object into any other object or shape to any location on the slide, and does this smoothly too between the two slides, provided the names are the same with the 2 exclamation marks at the start for both of the objects, and you have the morph transition applied to both slides. You can check the name of the objects in the selection pane as discussed already. Also, as a bonus tip, if you need to color something to a specific color, then use the EyeDropper tool, and if you're able to navigate windows without the mouse due to some keyboard shortcuts that you might have learned, then you can pick a color that happens to be on any other window, opening up your whole computer and other applications to the color source as well. Talking of Windows keyboard shortcuts, be sure to check out this video I made not too long ago after this one, which dives into just that. Right, enough on shapes, let's talk about some visual aspects. Most people actually do this wrong. If you need to share a video, for example, to show as part of your presentation, don't just copy a hyperlink, let's say, and paste it into the presentation and click on it when needed. Instead, use the embed feature. This way, you're not taken to YouTube or some other site where your watch history, suggestions, or other random ads appear on your screen while presenting. By embedding your video, you can control its size and playback from within PowerPoint, and looks way more professional too. Screen recordings. Talking of videos, if you want to embed your own, you can use the built-in screen recording feature seen in the Record tab, and then insert this onto a PowerPoint slide, for example. In here, you'll have the option to show your pointer and select the specific region of the screen that you want to record. As you can see here, I'm just going to record a clip of me vandalizing this thumbnail, and it gets inserted into my presentation, which I can resize as needed. Also, if you want to pre-record the whole presentation, go to the Record tab and press Export to Video, or you can just go to File and then Export. From here, you have multiple options to record your presentation. This could be with predetermined timings, for example, or to record your own. If you choose to record your own, you'll have to first make some recordings for each slide, and you can press the record option to do this. This will then open up a recording interface where you have a few options, such as showing your notes, managing your recordings, using various controls for the pointer, and annotations, as well as narration during the presentation. You also have the option to show your camera and its preview as well, which I'll leave off for the purpose of this video. At this point, you can press record and record what you need on each of your slides. After you're done with the recordings, you can return to the export video option, from which which you'll now have a chance to export the slides with the respective recordings by pressing the Create Video button. Oh, and just a final point on screen recordings is that if you need to take a screenshot of something on your computer and insert it into a slide without lots of copy and paste nonsense, just press the screen clipping icon, which will give you an option to screenshot any application you have open or draw a specific area to grab the screenshot from, in which case PowerPoint will minimize out the way, allowing you to take the screenshot. As you can see here, I've screenshotted this particular donut out from my image file and it gets pasted into my presentation immediately. And I think that leads nicely into some presentation tips and tricks. When you present, I'm sure you know you have the options that are here in the bottom left, the standard stuff really. However, if you press the F1 key, you'll get a pop-up showing you all the other commands at your disposal if you press a certain key. There are quite a few of them in here, so I'll go over the main ones that are likely to be of most use to you. Pressing B will make your presentation go to a black screen. W will make the screen completely white. Using the Control and mouse wheel or the plus and minus buttons, you can zoom in as needed. Typing out a specific number and then enter will take you to that slide, so if you remember some key slides and their numbers, you can go there without having to scroll through your whole presentation. If you press H, you'll move to the next slide as long as it's hidden as opposed to skipping past it. So if I go to my slides for example and then hide this slide with lots of shapes and go back into presenter mode, pressing the next slide button, which will skip to the next slide, which is the one with the fewer shapes on, but pressing H instead will go to the hidden slide, which is the one with lots of shapes on. And finally, if you hold the right and left mouse buttons at the same time for 2 seconds, you'll return to the first slide. If presenting the PowerPoint yourself is not your cup of tea, then you can set up a PowerPoint loop. If you go to slideshow and then go to setup slideshow, you can select if you want the slides to repeat indefinitely by choosing the kiosk option, and you get a few other options in here too. Once selected though, you'll need to head into the transitions tab and set timings for your slides. As seen here, I've set mine to 2 seconds each and apply to all. Now when I press present, the slideshow will take place automatically, with 2 seconds being spent on each slide before moving on to the next automatically. When you get to the end of the slideshow presentation, the slideshow will loop back automatically too. One thing to note though is that the recording I made earlier also plays on the slide alongside the presentation, so to disable this you can just uncheck the play narrations button in the ribbon. And a final quick tip on the topic of videos would be to use the stock images and videos from within PowerPoint, which can be found as a button in the insert tab right here. This way you can just use these images as opposed to having to find them online from random sites. The same thing applies to icons and the smart art button, which is a little bit more complex, but this definitely is one of those features that people forget about but can help to spruce up your PowerPoint here and there. Now I think let's talk about formatting. Oh yes, everyone's favourite. If you weren't aware, you can press the align button to align any shapes or objects in reference to each other, so whether this be to have them all horizontally or vertically aligned or even distributed as per both orientations, you can do this from this menu here. As you can see, I started out with a bunch of rectangles that were originally poorly aligned, and by selecting them in groups I was able to easily align them as needed and center them too, with the help of the group tool, quite quickly and easily too. On this note, you can also add guides to your PowerPoint, which I find particularly useful if there are some key positions that you need to keep throughout your presentation or a group of slides. If you right click on the default guides that appear, you can add a guide and move it as needed. You also have a few options in here regarding the color of the lines, and positioning them is quite easy, as you get a number telling you how far away the guide is from the center in regards to the up, down, left, right distance. There's also a grid option here if you want to have this on as well. Honestly, having titles slightly off in each slide of a presentation has got to be one of the worst punishments invented in the 21st century. Am I the only one bothered by this? Another quick tip is that you can use the control key and drag in order to create multiple copies of an object in order to save you some time as well. The designer tab. If you weren't aware, by going to the designer button at the end of the home tab or in the design tab, you can really spruce up your presentation in regards to aesthetics as well as the layout, so be sure to give this button a press if you're in a pinch. As you can see by this slide, it's definitely on the bland side, but by pressing this button I can make it look a lot more appealing very quickly. You'll notice that even the icons match each of the definitions too, such as a bank icon for cryptocurrency, some atom icon for the quantum computing definition, and lastly a scientist icon for nanotechnology. Definitely a great feature when you're short of time or as inspiration really. Another quick tip which I'll bundle into this one is that you can actually reuse slides across PowerPoint without finding the file and copying and pasting between documents. You can do this by using the reuse slides feature, which will open up the side panel with lots of recent PowerPoint documents. From here, you can then expand as needed and steal a slide from another PowerPoint and insert it into the current one. Right, so here's some other smaller tips and tricks which I've grouped into one, which kind of fit into the formatting camp, but I couldn't really find a logical place to list them. So here they are now. Shadow colors. I think this is one of the simplest but underutilized formatting techniques in PowerPoint, which is the fact that for any object, you can format it with a shadow, which people often don't realize is possible to begin with, but then also changing the color of that shadow too, which can really take certain elements to the next level. As you can see here, I used the EyeDropper tool as well, specifically in order to get the shadow I wanted, and I think it looks pretty good to highlight the PowerPoint logo. Adding sections. Adding sections can also help you organize slides, which again is one of those simple features that generally just gets underutilized. It can really help in those super long presentations with lots of slides. Removing the background. I'm sure you're aware of this, but just a quick reminder that you can use this tool to mark areas to keep and remove of an image, so there is that. Text spacing. This is also one of those features that you might use in Word quite often, but PowerPoint not so much. But it's a reminder that the same thing applies here. Replace options. Again, these are useful for making sweeping changes across slides in regards to the spelling and the font consistency. Lookup and translate. Using the lookup feature, you can highlight a particular word and then PowerPoint will search online and provide you with some other information without you having to leave the app itself. Similarly, the thesaurus is also available and a translation feature is also built in, allowing you to translate text on slides as needed and insert the new text without having to leave the app and go to some other translation services. Now if speaking is not your thing and you want to impress everyone with some academic excellence, then I'm sure you use the equations feature, but instead of just trying to add them manually, use the ink to maths button as seen on the far left to convert equations you write into typed form. If you have one of those drawing tablets, then this will really help you out. On a similar note, no pun intended, if you go to the draw tab, you'll also find the ink to shape option, and on newer versions of Office, you'll find the ink to text option too, to convert your handwriting into typed text. Talking about academic excellence, we should talk about Excel. Get it? Because Excel, excellence, yeah, I'm sorry. If you need to copy and paste some information such as a chart into PowerPoint, as you can see here from this OS market share data, damn, macOS has climbed quite a bit recently. Anyway, if you decide to copy a chart across, people often just press Ctrl+C and V and hope for the best, or even worse is pasting as an image, which can definitely cause problems if the chart changes in the long term, which as you can see here, does not update accordingly in PowerPoint when the data is changed in Excel. To get the best results, you should be sure to click this drop down here and select one of the linked options. This way, if you make a change in Excel, it will be reflected accordingly. And similarly, I'll just throw in the tip that you can apply animations to charts as well, which often gets underutilized, missed or not done properly. Like here, you can animate the whole chart as you can see, but you can select effect options and then choose by element in series. What's also great about this is that you can then customize things further using the animation pane button and then opening the drop down menu. From here, you can select certain animations, for example, for each element of the chart. I think the wipe animation works best with this bar chart, but you get the idea. As you can see, this would be really helpful not to reveal the whole chart at once if you set all these animations to go off on mouse click. And a final tip I would suggest, though a bit niche, is using the filled in map feature for anything geographical, which again can be linked to Excel, as seen by this world map and even one for the USA states. This way you don't have to rely on labeling some third party random image or something. I know this is more Excel territory, so if you want to see a similar video on Excel tips and tricks, then leave a comment below. And finally, a few quick tips on the PowerPoint layout itself. For example, the slide sorter can be used to organize slides accordingly in the order that is required. This way you don't have to drag the slides up and down through large lists on the left. Besides, it gives you a nice view of all your slides for design consistency, and you can zoom in as needed. In regards to zooming, you can press this option in the corner, which will cause a slide to zoom to fit the size of the screen. Again, another helpful time saver. And finally, for those of you who are interested, you have the reader mode option, which although I don't find is very useful, it might be useful for others. You can amend each of these options by right clicking on the status bar and then ticking or unticking each of these options that you see. A comprehensive set of these options can also be found in the view tab as well for reference. Now that covers PowerPoint tips and tricks, but if you fancy checking out Word tips and tricks, then click on the left, or if you're after a full Microsoft Office playlist, then click here. Anyway, thanks for watching, be sure to subscribe and I'll see you later.